Hey, welcome to another exciting edition of Doodling with Purpose, where we kick off every episode with a funny cartoon about ancient Egypt. And I can't believe I'm still finding original cartoons here in episode 151. Hey, Egypt's popular. All right, let's jump in by looking at the homework from last week. And of course, the first thing you're going to want to do is glyph this, which is great practice for just drawing your basic glyphs. And then, of course, after that, we'll transliterate it and making sure we add all of the right sound complements in order to know the difference between a h and a he and a h sound, because ancient Egyptians had a lot more sounds than English, like Arabic or Hebrew. All right, so the first word we have up here is the prince or a prince, because again, no articles in Egyptian, so we're going to add the to it, followed by the verb in the present tense, is pleased. We know it's present because we have the face glyph with a stroke line under it, which puts it is pleased, the verb pleased. And what are we pleased? We're pleased with something. We have the word chana, the flax, the water, and the arm sign, the word with. So the prince is pleased with. What's he pleased with? Well, from our vocabulary last week, he is pleased with chatip, an offering, and this could have been followed by what the offering is, like fowl and beer and linen, but in this case I didn't put that. Whose offering is it? It's her offering, because we have the pronoun with the bolt of cloth following offering, which makes it her offering. And where's the offering located? Well, in this case, it's chakat, in front, and it's followed by, I'm sorry, I said hitip, and then followed by per with the house glyph with the stroke line, which makes it a house and not just the word per. We're actually indicating what the glyph is here. Then what type of house is it? It's a great house. Were, the ren followed by the mouth glyph r, which is a echo sound. And what about this offering in front of the house? Well, how does the prince feel about it? We have the word Murray, which is loves. You may remember that. That hasn't been a vocabulary word we've done in a while, but it's a very common Egyptian word, so trying to remind you of it. The ho, the mouth, and the stroke lines at a diagonal. Mur or Murray, loves. And what does he love? He loves his scepter. So we have chakat, and that's going to be followed by the pronoun he, which is the horned viper there. So we know it's his scepter. And so again, if we're going to read this whole thing and adding appropriate ands and appropriate articles to it, the whole sentence can then become, the prince is pleased with the offering that, or her off, or rather with her offering in front of his house, this great house, and he loves the scepter. So, or a scepter, but probably the scepter. Okay, let's jump in now to one of the kind of more popular glyphs in pop culture, which is the Scarab beetle, which is a symbol for life and rebirth. I'll show you how to draw it. I'll break it down in this case. I did glyph it, and you can watch the video back in an early lesson. But as a reminder, so we start with a little M there, and then we draw a straight line down. It's not quite an M. It's more of sort of like two little hills next to each other, or top of a heart. And then once we have the line straight down, then we do the curved lines on either side, and this makes the basic body of the scarab. And now you kind of add the last tricky part, which is the top. So you're just going to draw another curved line connecting both curves above the little, like sort of the heart or the M that you first drew. And now you could just add the details, like the little eyes and the antennae. And after that, it's pretty easy just to add the different legs coming out, and usually the top two legs are drawn a little bit longer than the bottom ones. I haven't necessarily done that here, but it varies, I guess, how different cultures do it or different scribes did it. So yeah, it's one of those glyphs that when you look at it at first, you kind of can't figure out where to start, but once you realize you start with that little M thing, it all comes together. And sometimes you'll see this with the Atum disc, or the raw disc above it, because again, a symbol of rebirth, and the sun was about rebirth. This is pronounced chupper, like the Bach, the H is a sound. All right, let's put this into a word. So here we have a word, chupper, Oh, look, we spelled out the word and then followed it with the glyph. In this case, it's acting as a determinative. So the word we have the h with the sift, the p, the reed mat, and two r's. This is actually the word for scarab beetle. So you can use the actual scarab beetle, but in order to elongate it, if you have a longer amount of stone, it could be written out like that. All right, next word, we have hooper with an R under it, and I've already crossed out the extra additional echo sound. This is the word to become, because again, the scarab beetle represented transition, rebirth, to become something else. All right, our next glyph is the jar, sometimes called an oil jar or even a milk jug. It looks like a jar. It's a jar. So this is chinum, chinim. The H is like hu, chinim. You're going to start with those two diagonal lines at the top going in. Another one of those glyphs that's kind of tricky when you're just looking at it, but once you break it down, it becomes pretty easy. So after your two diagonal lines, then you'll do the two curved lines downward, and your jar pretty much comes together at that point because you just have to add the base and the top, remembering that the top part there is going to cross over beyond the diagonal line to represent the lip of the pitcher. And then, of course, the handle. You'll do that at the end. So here we have this in a word, chnm, followed again by a M, the owl glyph, so you know that's an echo effect. And hopefully you remember that determinative there, the papyrus scroll, which represents a sort of non-finite thing, something that can't be glyphed in any other way. And in this case, it's the word to join with. So it'd be hard to draw something joining together. So papyrus scroll works for that. It's kind of your catch-all for all others. All right. The next glyph is haru. Again, the bach, the ch of the H. Haru. This is an oar, like like on a boat. So this is going to be drawn with two sets of curved lines with 3 and 4 connecting at the top. And here we have haru with the glyph of the man pointing towards his mouth, which indicates it's something that you express, as opposed to if the hand was outreached, it would be a man in his occupations. And we'll go over that when we clean up some determinative work after the trilaterals. So this is a very important word. It's the word for voice. And we've used this actually quite a lot, especially in the early lessons, as part of this longer phrase, ma'at haru, which, if you recall, ma'at means true and haru is voice. So we have true of voice. Again, remembering that there's no Egyptian word for of. So it also can be translated, as the justified. It's kind of like the RIP, R-I-P, on a tombstone. All right, so here we have haruit, followed by a determinative, and you'll see, you may think you see that as a letter, kind of looks like that letter A, the hand, but you'll notice it's holding a sword, which is what that curved candy cane-like thing is. You've seen that also on glyphs of soldiers and different things with battles. So it's the curved sword plus the hand makes it a determinative, not the letter A. And so this is the word for war. What is it good for? Haruit. And of course, we can, just move forward. There's no echo effects here. All right. Last but not least, here is the homework for this week, including some of the vocabulary we just went through. So practice transliterating it, glyphing it, translating it, and, all the other fun that comes with doodling with purpose. Because if you're not doodling with purpose, you're just doodling. Well, I guess you're always doodling with purpose. But now you have something you can actually, say you did. All right. Thank you so much again for joining. Any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll hit you back with clarification. Good luck this week. Have a wonderful winter break, and I'll see you guys all back here for the new year for more doodling with purpose.